Good morning, Tehmina Khan is here. In this video, I will explain to you the past paper questions of kinematics. Kinematic is a topic of A-level mathematics M1. It is paper 4 and syllabus is of CAIE. So before I begin, you can see on the top my blog address and you will find the link of all my videos on it. Recently, I have made my playlist also at the request of few students, so it is also available now. So let's start, and in this video I will take the past paper question in which sketches are given to you, and then you have to answer the question seeing those sketches. So I have taken here 3 examples. So this is question number 1. I have put the printed form here because writing this much information is too much. So the question is about velocity time sketch, and there are 2 cyclists. So I'm just explaining the question to you first, then I will show you exactly the words mentioned here also. So there are 2 cyclists P and Q. So cyclist P starts from rest and he moves with a acceleration 2 and reaches to the velocity 10. What time? Which is not given to you. Cyclist Q, after time t seconds, starts from rest, move with the same acceleration and reaches to the velocity 10. So this is the interpretation of the graph. Let's see what is the question here. So this information is all given here. So this information is given here. It is saying it's a velocity time graph for the motion of 2 cyclists P and Q, and who travels in a straight path. Both cyclists start from rest at the same position and accelerating with 2 meter per second square up to the speed of 10 meters per second. And both then continue at the same constant speed. And Q starts after t seconds after P. So first of all, the question is saying show on the sketch the region which represents the displacement of P from O when Q starts. So it simply means how much distance from O the cyclist P has covered when Q starts. Now we know in the velocity time graph, the area under the curve give us a distance. So Q is starting from here. So if I just go up and join at the line where P sketch is given, this line. So this whole area is under the cyclist P sketch. So this much displacement is covered by cyclist P when Q started from O, right? So in this first part, you will just draw the line here and shade this portion. As the question is saying, sketch the region which shows that the distance covered from O by the cyclist P when Q started moving. So in part 1, you will just shade this area. Now part 2 is saying find out the value of T. So, and what information is given to you? P has traveled 16 meter at the instant when Q starts. So now the information is given to you. So if you see here, it means this area is equals to 16 because area under the curve gives you distance from the origin or from the starting point in this case. So now this is a shape of a triangle. So if I want to find out the value of T, I know the area, I know the acceleration. So can I find out? Let's see. So area of a triangle will help me? I don't think so. So what will help me? What do you think? Can you think of a SWOT equation? Constant acceleration equations which I showed you in my previous video. So yes, one of the equation will help you. See here, S is equals to ut plus half at square. Distance is 16. Initial speed is 0 of P. Acceleration is A. And how much time has passed? Capital T is mentioned in the figure. So you are using the same figure and you are solving it. So you get T equals to 4. So it was 4 seconds. Once P start, then after 4 seconds Q starts, right? The second part, the third part of the question is saying the distance between P and Q when Q speeds reaches to 10 meter per second. Now this question is actually very simple. You know why? Because if you look at the sketch which was given to us, it was just like this. Actually, area under the curve gives you distance. So if I look at this is the distance which P has already covered when Q starts moving from here, right, after 4 seconds. So if question is asking find the distance between P and Q when Q touches the velocity 10 meter per second, it simply means you have to find the area of a parallelogram which will represent the distance. Now in the diagram this is 0 because you have y-axis here and x-axis here. So this is 4, base is 4 and height of a parallelogram is 10 because the velocity was mentioned here. So 4 times 10 is 40. So it is 40 meter the distance between P and Q, and this distance will remain same because the object is moving with the same velocity afterward. So if question says will the distance remain same throughout, you will say yes. Afterward, once Q will reach to the velocity of 10 meter per second, then the distance between P and Q will remain 40 meter. Okay, so now let's see another question. Now the question is interpreting this graph. This is sketch. So let me ask you first, what do you understand? Then I will show you the question also. It's a velocity time graph, and I have already explained to you in my previous video. The horizontal line on velocity time sketch shows you constant velocity. So it means object is moving for 10 seconds. See here it is written 10. For 10 seconds at the velocity of 7 meter per second. Then what happened between the time 10 to 15 seconds? It is 0, right? So velocity 0 means object is stopped, stationary. Then what does this show? -4 between 15 to 30 seconds. This shows that object is going backward now. That's why we have drawn it on this side below the x-axis. So -4. So if I show you the trajectory of it, I explained to you trajectory in the previous video also, it will make more sense. So before I show you trajectory, let's see the distance covered in 10 seconds. So 7 multiplied by 10 is 70. And if I want to see the distance covered in this portion, this is 15 and this is 4. I'm not considering minus because minus is just telling me direction here. So 4 times 15 is 60. So it means here the distance covered is 70, here the distance covered is this is 70 and this is 60. So let's see the scenario and what is the question. So before reading the question, without seeing anything, this is what I'm getting from the diagram, the sketch. That object was moving with this velocity and then it took the turn back, about turn. So let's see what is question saying. Question is saying a boy runs from point A to C. He pauses at C. So it means when he's resting here, he has reached to point C. So without seeing the question, if I see the distance covered by the boy from A to C, I can say 70 meter. And then he walks backward from A until he reaches the point B. And this is what it represents, that he is moving backward, and we have seen it is equals to 60 meter. So backward he went all the way to 60 meter. The diagram shows the graph of velocity time and everything same what I have just explained to you. So question is saying find out the distance AC and AB. Now look at the trajectory. So this is point A. The boy moved all the way till C and it is 70 meter. I have just shown you on the graph. It was the area under the rectangle. And then it took about turn and it moved from C to B, which was equals to 60 meter. And I have showed you here because from C to B it is going then. Now the question is saying what is the distance covered between AC and AB. So this is AC and this is AB. So AC is 70 meter and AB is what? Yes, 70 minus 60. Because this is 70 and this is 60, and question is asking distance from A to B. So it is 60 meter, right? And the last part of the graph is saying, the last part of the question is saying, sketch the displacement time graph for the same velocity time graph. The rest is all same information. It is saying show clearly the values of t and x, mean the distances. So you have to show very clearly where is 70 coming, where is 60 coming, where is 10 coming on the displacement time graph. So let's see. So now keep this graph in your mind. In the last video I showed you when the velocity is constant in the velocity time graph, then displacement time graph reflect this line, right? Constant distance, velocity covering the distance. And when it is in the negative side, it shows like this. And this shows horizontal line on the displacement time graph. So let's see it. So if you see in the displacement time graph, definitely you will mention the time scale exactly what is mentioned in velocity time. It was 10, 15 and 30. So time interval will remain same, and what is happening between that time interval, that you have to show. Now since it is a displacement time graph, on the y-axis you will show from 0 to 70, because when object started at A and reached to C, the boy I mean, he covered 70 meter. So it shows that he started from where, and from 0 and went all the way up till 70. Then for 5 seconds he took rest, he paused there, he stopped there, and then he started moving backward and he covered 60 meter. So from 70 till 10 it will come all the way here. So how much distance is left now? Only 10 meter, and this is what we have seen in the previous part. So let's start with the third and the last question of this video. The sketch is given like this, right? So if you look at the question, or if you do not look at the question, what does it show? When time was 0, the object started moving on this side. I will show you on the trajectory what does it mean. So whatever is the starting point, the object moved to the left, right, speeding up in the direction of left, then moved with a constant speed in the same left direction, then slowed down in the same left direction, then it took about turn here, and then started moving right side, speeding up, still in the same right hand side moving, and slowing down and stop here. So let's see the sketch on the trajectory to understand this sketch, and then we will come to the question. Okay, so this is the meaning of it. Now trajectory mean like on the straight line. I will explain to you the meaning of the sketch. So this is the line AB, object is here, right? And the first part which was below the x-axis is reflecting that object went all the way till here, which was within 6 seconds. It was speeding up, it is not, that doesn't matter. I'm just showing that it is going from here till here. Then after 6 seconds it took about turn, right? And then speeding up, slowing down according to sketch, and then at B it stop. I don't know what is the time here, we will find it out. Okay, so let's read the question. The purpose of showing you this trajectory is to make you understand what is the meaning of the graph. Okay, so question is just explaining that velocity of the particle is moving in a straight line is v meter per second, and the diagram shows a velocity time graph, and then motion of the particle from 0 second to capital T second. We have seen here it was 0 initially, and then time was capital T. The graph consists on 4 segments, right? And then the particle reaches, what are the 4 segments by the way? It is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So the particle reaches its maximum velocity v meter per second at time t equals to 10. So you can see at t equals to 10 the velocity is v, which we don't know, maximum velocity, right? Now, first part of the question is saying find the acceleration of the particle during the first 2 seconds. Now, these are the first 2 seconds, 0 to 2. And this is a velocity time graph. So, how can you calculate the acceleration? Do you remember anything I explained in the last video, or maybe you already know it? Yes, in the velocity time graph, the gradient gives you the acceleration. So, I know this point is 0, 0. This point is 2, minus 2. So, if I apply gradient formula, which will give me the acceleration because it is a velocity time graph, so I will get my acceleration minus 1 meter per second square, right? The next part of the question is saying find the value of v. Now look at the graph. Do you think it is easy to find the value of v? I can give you a hint. Using the coordinate geometry concept or using the gradient concept, it's a straight line. So you see, what is the point here? It is 4, minus 2. What is the point here? 6, 0. What is the point here? 10, v. So the gradient throughout is same. No matter you use these 2 points, you use these 2 points, you use these 2 points. Because on a straight line, no matter which 2 points you use, the gradient is same. And gradient will give you acceleration, right? So let's see here. Because the purpose is to find the value of v. So I have these 3 points on the straight line. So I'm applying gradient formula on this one first. V minus 0, 10 minus 6. And then I'm applying on these two, which is minus 2 minus 0, 4 minus 6. So I have applied gradient formula and I have put it equals to each other because they are of the same line. And I will solve it. So I will get v over 4 equals to minus 2 over minus 2, which will give me v equals to 4. So it means the maximum velocity at time 10 seconds was 4 meter per second. Now the last part of the question is saying find the distance AB and find the value of t when the particle stops. What information is given here? It is given at t equals to 6, the particle is instantaneously at rest. So we know when particle started moving, accelerating, moving with constant velocity, constant acceleration, and then it is constant velocity, and then slowing down again. Then at time t equals to 6, velocity is 0, which means it was instantaneously at rest. And at that point, it took about turn. So if question is saying at t equals to 6, the particle is instantaneously at rest at the point A, right? So in the diagram, it means the particle start at t equals to 0, moved all the way till A, and here time was 6 seconds, right? Okay, coming back to the question. So it is saying at time t equals to 6, the particle is instantaneously at rest at point A. At t equals to t, capital T I mean, when the particle stops again after taking about turn, the particle comes to rest, right? Now, next information is, and that was the point B basically. So at t equals to 0, the particle starts from rest at a point 1/3 of the way from AB. Now, what does it mean? It means on trajectory, at time t equals to 0, right? From where particle starts from rest, that was actually the distance 1/3 of AB. Now this is whole AB, right? If I divide AB into 3 portions, 3 equal portions, this one, and this one, then this portion is called 1/3 of the whole thing. So this is the information question is giving you, and it's extremely important because I know this distance from the graph very easily, and I will just show you how. So if I know this distance, I just need to multiply by 3 because there are 3 portions which are equal, and I will get the distance AB. Make sense? So I will only calculate this distance because question is saying this distance is 1/3 of the whole distance AB. So it is this distance, which is very easy because it starts at t equals to 0 and instantaneously comes to rest at t equals to 6. Now which shape is this? It is trapezium. So if I find out this distance, half into height into sum of parallel sides, these are my parallel sides. This is 2, this is 6, and height is 2. So I can find out this distance. And once I know this distance, I will just multiply by 3 because this is double of this, right? It makes sense because of the information given to us. And I will get the distance AB. So let's see. Okay. So distance from a starting point to A. So I told you it's a trapezium. I have shown here the formula and it is 8 meter, right? Half into height into sum of parallel sides. So it means this distance is 8 meter and this is 2 times more this portion. So it is 16. So this whole thing is 16 plus 8 is 24, or you can do straight away 8 times 3. So the total distance is 24 meter. Now the question is saying what was the time when the object stops or come to rest at B. So in the diagram, the portion above the x-axis was this, right? The rest of the portion which was below I have not drawn here. So now I know this distance is 16, right? Because this one was 8, we have just calculated. So I can apply the formula for the area of a triangle, half into height into base. Now this is my height because maximum velocity I have just calculated. And what is this base? From here till here it is capital T. From here till here it is 6. So this portion is capital T minus 6. Right? So I am doing area which is representing distance. 16 is equals to half times capital T minus 6 into 4. And I got the value of capital T, 14. By the way, let me tell you here also, because you can also do instead of this, you can just represent this by a small t, for example. And when you get the answer of t, add it into 6. Because if I get this answer t, it means I need to add into 6 to get this one. Thank you very much for watching this video. In the next video, I will take past paper questions in which explanation will be given to you and you will have to sketch the graph. So because there are 3 types of things, sketches are given, sketches you have to draw, or sweat equations you have to use to solve the question. So thank you very much once again for watching the videos. If you liked it, please like and subscribe the button. You will get the indication of my next videos. Take care. Allah Hafiz.